Hey everybody, Manga Mike here, and we are going to be doing something different for today's video. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this. This doesn't look like much, but it is very, very important if you are trying to learn how to draw heads without like having a reference all the time, because this becomes your tool for the reference. So I'm going to lay out the materials that you'll need. So the first thing that you'll need, and these are all like very cheap, is a styrofoam ball. You're going to need 2 rubber bands. Sorry, that's my dog. You'll need a knife, and you'll need a permanent marker. Now, if you are a younger person, this first step that I'm going to show you, please make sure you have an adult help you. I just don't want y'all to get hurt. And before you even really start, if you are younger than maybe 13 or so, you should definitely have an adult helping you regardless, just because there is a knife involved. So really fast, this obviously is no longer a ball. I don't know what happened to it, but usually you would have a ball. But the cool thing is it's cut pretty much perfectly for this. So that is the next step, is that you would take your styrofoam ball and you would go ahead and you want to chop off about a just a sliver like this. When you're doing this for the first time, less is more, because if you cut off too much, then obviously you're kind of screwed. That's probably pretty good. And you want to cut off enough of it to make the actual Loomis Method circle, and the circle should be about this part right here, which I'll highlight in a second with the marker. This part should be about 2/3 of the height of the actual sphere itself, and as you can see, this is pretty close to 2/3 right here. So that part is done. I'm going to actually shave this down just a little bit. So step 1 is complete. You shave down both sides. And now step 2 is, instead of having you can do this technically without a rubber band, but it would be really hard to do this step with a marker. So the next step is you're going to take your rubber band, your first one, and depending on how big it is, you might need to double it up, which I'm going to have to do here. If my fingers will work. And you're going to take it and line it on the, as close as you can to the middle. The reason why I like to use a rubber band for this is because it's just easier than drawing all the way through, and as you can see, it's pretty close to the very middle of this sphere. And I'm actually going to quickly go get, because I forgot one of the rubber bands, so I'm going to pause for a second and then come back. Alright, so that was the first rubber band. The second rubber band, you're going to do the same thing, except for with this one, you're going to actually go into the middle this way. Alright, so those of you who are not familiar with the Loomis method, I am going to actually show you how to utilize this little guy right after I construct it. But the Loomis method, basically, you have the sides of the head, which are represented by the circles that were cut by the 2/3 slice that we did with the knife. And then you have the brow line right here. And realistically, you could do a circle or even a rubber band across the top here and across the bottom, but I kind of leave that piece up for interpretation a little bit. And then you have this next piece, which is you're going to take the rubber band, take the styrofoam with the rubber band on it like we have here, and you're going to draw a perpendicular line to this rubber band that's going across this way. Okay, and you want to split it in half. This circle that you have, you want to split that in half. And I'm going to actually highlight the circle a little bit too, so it's a little easier to see. And you should probably do this step as well, because it will help you be able to see it from different views. Because look, see, now you can tell, like, oh, that's the side of the head, that's where the circle should be. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side here. It's okay that the circle is not like perfect. You would just, use this as the front, or if you're trying to do the back, you would use it as the back. So yeah, so now we have the finished product of the Loomis Method model that you'll be using. If it's not like perfect, like this one's actually not nearly as good as the other one that I created, because you can kind of see that this one's just a little more clean looking on this side. That's okay. So I'll use this one for the actual demo that I'm about to do. But again, like, now you have this line here, and if this is the front of the face, we're able to see now, if the head is facing like upwards like this, we're able to see where the ear is placed, because the ear is placed in this lower quadrant right here. And then we're also able to see this point right here, which is really important. And I'll go over why this point in particular is important in just a second. And then finally, again, we have the midline for the head, and then we have the midline for the brow right here. So we have all the parts necessary to help us better visualize the Loomis method. So I'm going to pause again, and then I'm going to get the sketchbook out and kind of show you how you can utilize this and why this is so useful. Alrighty, so now to show y'all how this is useful. So suppose we want a head, and one of the hardest heads honestly to draw, besides like ones like this where you have to draw the chin, and I'll do another video on that in particular later on. But one of the harder heads to draw actually is ones that are kind of like this. And why do I say that? That's because it's hard to know like how far over it is, and it's not quite a front view, and it's not a profile. So like the slight turns and twists and stuff like that can be kind of difficult to visualize in your head. But if you don't want to like spend your time looking up a reference on Google, this is a really good alternative. So let me just show you, and I'm sorry it's not going to obviously be in the correct view for you, but let me show you how you can use this to draw a head this way. So yeah. So you'll start off with your circle. I'll try to draw a little bit darker for y'all. So you'd start off with your circle, and now I can see, from my view at least, again it's going to look like kind of like that for y'all, but from my view I can see that this side over here, this part of the head, a piece gets chopped off, and then over here it's also slightly smaller, but I can also see where my side of the head, the circle, lies. And now I can go ahead and draw this line. I actually drew it incorrectly, which is important because I can see where I'm making my own mistakes in trying to visualize the structure of this head. And then this line right here. Okay, so now I can see how it wraps around like that. And one thing I'm already noticing, I think, is that I think this head that I've drawn is a little too wide. I think that it should probably be a little bit closer to here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And these lines are relatively the same. So let me erase away some of this stuff. It's kind of difficult with the view, the camera view. Let me see if I can't tilt it so that it's a little... Okay. Because this view, it's not looking the same as what I'm seeing. But, okay, so this is perfect. So now I can go ahead and also look at this line. I have a good reference for this line because the rubber band's going around in a good way. You can notice that there's more space on this side than this side because of the perspective. So you want to implement that in your drawing. Don't be like me. Make sure you're doing long, smooth strokes. I get choppy when I get nervous. So now we have this piece. So what do we do next? If you know the Loomis method, you now know that, and I've done a video on this, and maybe I'll do another one relatively soon. This piece right here is going to be added onto the bottom after we pull this over. So the bottom of this side of the head circle right here is going to go over. This line is parallel to this line right here. So that's important, and this is also parallel to this line right here. So now we have the brow line where the nose lies, and now this piece right here is giving us the length that this is where the chin actually lies. So we have the 1, 2, 3 segments. We're going to pull the chin over, or the jawline I should say, over and up. Alright, and like I said earlier, your ear is placed in here. And to be honest with you, if you draw through on this side, you would get something like this, and that right there. You'd actually see a little bit of this ear on this side. It would be something like that. So now I can erase away this. Here, let me pull this up so you can see. So this is what we have right here. So we have this third, this third, this third. We have, this is actually the hairline right here. All of these lines are parallel to one another. And these spaces should be even, and I can see right now that this one is not quite large enough, so I could probably bring that up a little bit to even it out, or I could have also brought down this midline, whichever felt better, and maybe I'll do a little bit of both. So now, in order to do our mapping, you split this area right here in half on both sides. You now split this part from here to here in half, this part from here to here in half. And you do that on both sides. And then you split one more time. And I'll explain what all these splits were. The split from here to here, at the bottom, you're actually going to get where the nose rests. This split right here is actually where, this area in here is actually where the eye socket rests. So you can see eye socket is right here. Yeah, and the outside lines show you the bounds of the eye socket. So that's really important to note. And then finally, you split this bottom part into thirds. This is where your, in between your two lips is going to rest. If you split that in half, that's where your bottom lip ends. Split this part right here in half, that's where your upper lip ends. And this third down here is actually where your chin mound is, whatever you want to call it. So now the only thing left to do really is to add your neck. And I can go over maybe necks and stuff. I'm still learning that myself, but I can do that in a future video. But so now we have our neck. And then there you go. That's a head in a fairly difficult view, done by using this ball and no actual reference. So here, let me show you something really fast. Using this is how I got like this drawing right here. As you can see, it's the same exact stuff. I actually split this section that you saw a second ago. I split this in half, and I got like basically where the eye actually like lies with the eyelid, like the visible part of your eyeball, and that's how I kind of separated out my head. So in a future video, I'll probably do like, I wanted to do a live stream. It didn't really work too well, unfortunately, but I'm going to maybe do a really long video and post it of me practicing using this head, this like model that I showed y'all. But anyways, I really do hope that this was helpful. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully this is a valuable tool for you, because it's been super good for me. I have a lot of trouble visualizing, in particular this part right here that's shaved off both sides of the head, and being able to do that accurately is like the key to being able to draw heads from imagination. So anyways, I really hope that this was helpful. Like I said, if you liked the video, please make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe also if you liked the video. And other than that, I'm Manga Mike, and I'm out.